Princess Kingdom.
The Prism of Eternal Light. One fateful morning, the Prism of Eternal Light begins to dim, and shadows creep across Lumora. The Elder Luminary summons 3 light fairies, Jyo, Leena, and Priscilla, to investigate. Together, they must solve the mystery of the fading light and restore the prism before the shadows consume their world. The Elder Luminary reveals that the prism is powered by 3 hidden shards of light, scattered across the mystical islands. The fairies must retrieve the shards by solving riddles and passing trials designed to test their unity, intelligence, and courage. Elder Luminary, Jyo, Leena, Priscilla, the Prism of Eternal Light dims. Shadows grow bolder. You 3 must find the shards and rekindle its glow.
Shards of light? How do we even find them?
Elder Luminary, follow the beams of fading light. They will guide you to the trials, but beware, the shadows will try to deceive you. The fairies arrive at a maze made entirely of mirrors, with beams of light bouncing off the surfaces.
Look, the light splits into 1,000 paths. Which way do we go?
A riddle is etched on the mirror. The path to truth is lit not by sight, but by trust in shared light. We need to combine our light powers. Jyo, you guide the beam. Leena and I will reflect it with our wings.
By working together, they align the beams, creating a path that leads to the first shard.
1 down, 2 to go. The fairies enter a suspended library filled with glowing books. A shadowy figure guards the next shard.
Shadow Guardian. To claim the shard, answer my riddle. I am not alive, yet I grow. I have no lungs, yet I need air. What am I?
A tree? No, wait, maybe fire?
Fire. The answer is fire.
The shadow dissipates, revealing the shard.
2 shards down, 1 more to go. Let's move before the shadows return.
The last shard is hidden in a cavern echoing with sinister whispers. The fairies must face their fears.
The riddle says, to find the light, step into the darkest shadow. What you fear most will guide you.
I hate the dark. What if we can't find each other?
We stick together. Light only exists because of shadows.
The fairies step into the darkness. Their fears materialize as illusions. Jyo faces loneliness, Leena faces failure, and Priscilla faces helplessness. By supporting each other, they overcome the trials and claim the final shard. As they return to the prism, they discover the Elder Luminary standing in the shadows, holding the dimming prism.
Elder, we have the shards. Why haven't you restored the prism?
Elder Luminary.
You misunderstand. I broke the prism.
What? Why?
For centuries I guarded Lumora, but I grew tired of its light. The shadows whispered promises of freedom, but I see now that Lumora's light is worth protecting.
You can help us restore it. You were its guardian once. You can be again.
The fairies combine the shards and rekindle the prism, driving back the shadows. The Elder Luminary, repentant, vows to protect the light once more. The prism shines brighter than ever, and Lumora is saved. The fairies are hailed as heroes, but Jyo reminds them.
The light isn't just in the prism. It's in each of us. Together we'll ensure it never fades again.
The skies above Lumora, once radiant and filled with drifting auroras, had become fractured. Splinters of the celestial dome, a magical barrier protecting the realm, were falling, threatening the balance of light and shadow. The Elder Luminary summoned Jyo, Leena, and Priscilla for a mission. His voice was grave as he explained the dire situation.
The celestial dome is breaking, and the void beyond is creeping closer. If we do not act quickly, Lumora will be exposed to chaos. You must ascend to the Skyreach pinnacle and find the source of this disturbance.
Jyo, a determined and clever light fairy, nodded firmly.
We'll do whatever it takes, Elder Luminary.
Leena, the kind-hearted and cautious fairy, looked worried but resolute.
We won't let Lumora fall.
Priscilla, bold and daring, added with a confident smile.
Let's get to it. Time is wasting.
As the fairies set out, they encountered broken fragments of the sky. These glowing shards pulsed with mysterious energy. Jyo carefully examined one.
These fragments, They feel like remnants of something ancient.
Leena shivered as a cold breeze swept past.
It's like they're alive but filled with sorrow.
Priscilla drew her light blade and stood on guard.
Whatever it is, we'll handle it.
The journey to Skyreach Pinnacle was fraught with danger. Halfway through, the trio encountered shadow creatures guarding the gilded bridge, a glowing pathway suspended in the sky.
The shadows are everywhere. How do we get across?
Jyo observed the creatures. Noticing their movements followed a rhythmic pattern.
We need to time our flight between their strikes. Watch their rhythm and follow me.
The fairies navigated the bridge, dodging attacks and solving a glowing puzzle mid-flight. They worked together, their light powers stabilizing the bridge as they reached the other side. At the Skyreach Pinnacle, the fairies discovered Astraeus, a rogue star spirit who sought to shatter the celestial dome entirely. His glowing form radiated anger and sorrow.
You cannot stop me. The dome's destruction is the only way to restore my celestial form.
Astraeus, you don't have to do this. The dome protects all of Limora. There must be another way.
Astraeus' voice boomed with determination.
You cannot understand the pain of being incomplete. I will reclaim what was taken from me, no matter the cost.
Priscilla brandished her light blade.
Then we'll stop you, even if it means facing you head-on.
A fierce battle ensued. The fairies combined their powers, using light to counter Astraeus' celestial energy. The fight pushed them to their limits, but they finally managed to trap Astraeus in a beam of purified light.
We don't want to hurt you, Astraeus. Let us help you find another way.
Exhausted, Astraeus paused, his light dimming.
Another way? Perhaps you are right. I have been blinded by my pain.
The fairies promised to help Astraeus and worked with him to stabilize the celestial dome. As balance was restored, the skies of Limora glowed brightly once again.
You have shown great courage and wisdom. Together, light and shadow can find harmony.
With their mission complete, the fairies returned home, knowing they had not only saved Limora, but also gained an unexpected ally. The princess who lost her shoes. In the kingdom of Luminara, where golden lights floated in the sky, lived Princess Elara. She was kind, wise, and loved to dance under the moonlight. But one evening, as the kingdom prepared for the grand moonlit ball, something terrible happened. Elara lost her enchanted shoes. These weren't just any shoes. They were made of starlight and fairy dust, gifted by the fairies of Lumiraggio, Leena, and Priscilla. Without them, she couldn't perform the celestial dance, which kept the kingdom's magic alive. With time running out, Elara called upon the fairies for help. As Elara sat in despair, a soft golden glow appeared. The three light fairies arrived, their shimmering wings lighting up the palace.
A lost shoe? Sounds like a magical mystery.
But where could they have gone? Shoes don't just walk away.
Unless they did.
Could her shoes really have vanished on their own?
The fairies led Elara to the Garden of Echoes, where whispers of the wind could reveal lost things. They listened closely. A soft voice hummed. Little feet ran, soft and light, following a path, hidden from sight.
That means someone or something took them.
Following the whispers, they found tiny silver footprints leading to the crystal river. At the river, a shimmering fish leaped from the water.
Look, that fish is wearing a shoe.
Indeed, one of Elara's enchanted shoes was stuck on the fish's tail.
Seems like someone mistook your shoe for a boat.
With a sprinkle of fairy dust, they freed the shoe. But where was the other one? Elara's eyes widened. Her shoe was in the sky.
Her shoe was in the sky?
The fairies grabbed Elara's hands, and together they soared into the sky, searching among the floating clouds. There, sitting on a resting moonbeam, was a mischievous little star sprite, giggling as it tried on Elara's shoe.
Excuse me, little star. That's not your size. The sprite twinkled. It sparkles like a star. I thought it was meant for me.
It is beautiful, but it belongs to Princess Elara.
The sprite hesitated, then handed over the shoe. Elara twirled with joy. With both shoes back, Elara arrived at the moonlit ball just in time. As she danced, the sky lit up with magical starlight, and the kingdom's magic was restored. The fairies cheered, proud of their adventure.
Another mystery solved. Maybe next time we'll find lost crowns?
Elara laughed, grateful to her fairy friends.
True magic isn't in the shoes, but in the courage to chase after what you've lost.
As the music played, the kingdom of Luminara danced under the brightest moonlight ever. Even if you lose your way, a little courage and fairy dust will help you find it again.
In the peaceful town of Lilliput, where flowers bloomed with every sunrise, lived a little girl named Mira. She had the brightest smile, but one day her front tooth wobbled. Mira was excited at first. Everyone said the tooth fairy would visit. But when the tooth finally fell out, she looked in the mirror and gasped.
I look silly. What if everyone laughs at me?
She refused to smile, hiding her face behind her hands. That night, instead of putting her tooth under her pillow, she tucked it away, hoping the tooth fairy wouldn't come. But as the moonlight shimmered, Jyo, Leena, and Priscilla, the light fairies, appeared in her room.
No tooth? That's strange.
Mira, why didn't you put it out for the tooth fairy?
I don't want to look silly. I don't feel beautiful anymore.
Oh, Mira. Beauty isn't in a perfect smile. It's in the happiness behind it.
The fairies exchanged a knowing glance. With a sprinkle of fairy dust, they whisked Mira away to the Valley of Hidden Smiles. In the valley, Mira saw something amazing. Glowing teeth floating in the sky like stars.
These are the smiles of children who once felt like you, but when they learned to smile again, their happiness shined like magic.
Mira hesitated. Then she saw a beautiful golden fairy with shimmering wings. It was the tooth fairy herself.
Mira, do you know why I collect teeth? Each one holds a piece of childhood magic. It's not about looking perfect. It's about growing, changing, and embracing who you are.
Confidence makes a smile truly beautiful.
Mira touched her missing tooth and thought for a moment. Then she took a deep breath and smiled. Suddenly her tooth shimmered with golden light and floated into the sky, joining the glowing stars above. Mira woke up in her bed. The fairies gone, but something small and magical lay under her pillow. A tiny golden charm shaped like a smile. She looked in the mirror, and instead of hiding, she grinned. A big, happy, real smile. The next day, when her friends saw her, they didn't laugh. They smiled with her. Because confidence is the most magical thing of all. Your smile is special, not because it's perfect, but because it's yours.
The trio was deep in a heated debate about the most important topic of all time. Who makes the best fairy dust snacks?
Honey glazed stardust is the ultimate snack. It's sweet, it's crunchy, and it doesn't get stuck in your wings. Please, lavender-infused moonbeams are clearly superior. They're elegant, just like me. You're both wrong. Spicy comet crumbs are where it's at. They give you that extra zoom when you're flying.
As they bickered, Leena's sharp eyes caught something unusual below a tiny figure sitting on a mushroom, looking like he'd just lost his favorite pair of boots.
Hey guys, is that a sad little guy or a very confused garden gnome?
The fairies descended, landing gracefully.
Hey there, tiny dude. Why the long face? Did someone steal your mushroom throne?
I'm Finn, and I'm not a garden gnome. I'm a Lilliput, and my kingdom is in big trouble.
Trouble? Spill the tea, Finn. We're all ears.
A creepy fog has taken over the Lilliput Kingdom. Our crops are dying, everyone's lost, and even the king and queen are trapped in the palace. I was out looking for help when I got lost. Now I'm just sitting here feeling useless.
And we love a good adventure. Lead the way, Finn.
As they approached the Lilliput Kingdom, the fairies were greeted by a thick gray fog that looked like it had been borrowed from a haunted house. The once vibrant fields were now dull and lifeless, and the tiny houses looked like they hadn't seen a good party in weeks.
Ugh, this fog smells like old socks and regret. What even is this? It's not just fog, it's magical fog. Like the kind that doesn't go away no matter how much you wave your arms around.
She demonstrated by flailing dramatically, but the fog didn't budge.
Look! The fog is thicker over there. Something's definitely up.
That's where the king and queen are trapped. But be careful, this fog is sneaky. It'll make you lose your way faster than you can say fairy dust.
Good thing we're not just any fairies. We're fabulous fairies. Let's go.
As they reached the palace gates, they spotted the source of the Foga, floating black crystal that pulsed with dark energy. It looked like it had been designed by someone who thought goth was a personality trait.
That wasn't there before. It's terrifying.
Terrifying? Please, it's just a moody rock. Let's smash it.
She summoned a beam of golden light and aimed it at the crystal. But instead of breaking, the crystal reflected the beam, sending it zipping back toward the fairies.
Duck!
Jyo pulled Priscilla and Leena down just in time. The beam whizzed over their heads, singeing the tip of Leena's wing.
Okay, you're officially on my naughty list. This thing's tougher than it looks. We'll have to combine our powers. Teamwork makes the dream work, ladies. Let's show this crystal who's boss.
The fairies joined hands, their wings glowing pink, blue, and gold. Their combined energy formed a dazzling beam of light that shot straight at the crystal.
Take this, you overgrown paperweight.
The crystal cracked, then shattered into a million pieces, releasing a burst of light that swept away the fog. The sun broke through, and the Lilliput Kingdom came back to life. Flowers bloomed, crops sprouted, and the tiny houses lit up like a festival.
You did it. You saved us.
The king and queen rushed out of the palace, looking relieved and slightly disheveled. The queen adjusted her crown and smiled at the fairies.
Thank you, brave ones. You've brought light back to our kingdom.
He handed them a tiny glowing star. Leena held it up, her eyes sparkling.
Thanks, but I couldn't have done it without you.
And don't forget, you were the real hero here. You never gave up, even when things looked bleak.
Once upon a time, in the magnificent kingdom of Lorin, there lived a princess named Seraphina. She was known far and wide not for her wisdom, kindness, or bravery, but for her legendary laziness. While the people of Lorin worked tirelessly to tend the fields, craft fine goods, and uphold the kingdom's prosperity, Seraphina spent her days lounging on velvet cushions, sipping honeyed tea, and reading stories of adventurers, while refusing to embark on any adventures of her own. The king and queen were at their wits' end.
What shall we do? A ruler must understand hard work and responsibility.
We have tried tutors, mentors, and even sending her to the village, but she simply refuses to change.
One fateful night, as the royal couple lamented their daughter's indolence, 3 radiant figures descended into the palace courtyard: Jyo, Priscilla, and Leena, the Light Fairies.
A lazy princess, you say? This sounds like an interesting challenge. She must learn that the joys of life come not from comfort alone, but from purpose and effort.
A little fairy magic should do the trick.
They had heard of the lazy princess and decided to intervene. The fairies whispered to the wind, and before dawn, a spell was cast upon Seraphina's chamber. When the princess awoke, she found herself in an unfamiliar place. Vast, endless garden filled with towering hedges, thick vines, and golden flowers. The palace was nowhere in sight.
What is this nonsense? Where is my bed? My tea?
Welcome, Princess Seraphina. This is the Garden of Trials. You will not leave until you prove that you can work hard.
I refuse. I shall wait until my servants arrive to take me home.
No servants here, Your Highness. Only you, us, and the tasks that must be done.
And if you don't complete them, you may never leave.
As time passed, hunger gnawed at Seraphina. She spotted a fruit-laden tree, but the lowest branch was just out of reach.
Fine, I'll do it.
Reluctantly, she decided to climb the tree to reach the fruit. After much slipping and struggling, she finally grasped a juicy golden apple. Panting, she took a bite for the first time in her life. She felt pride in earning something for herself. As the day went on, the fairies guided her through different tasks: gathering water, planting flowers, and lighting lanterns along the garden path. At first, she complained. Then, she sighed. But soon, she found herself enjoying the work. She laughed when she got muddy, smiled when a butterfly landed on her hand, and marveled at the beauty of a world she had never truly engaged with before. Finally, after completing the final trial, a brilliant light surrounded her, and she found herself back in her palace room. But this time, she did not call for her maids or lounge on her cushions. Instead, she hurried to the kitchens to help prepare breakfast, joined the royal tailors in weaving fabrics, and walked into the village to listen to the people's concerns. The king and queen were astounded by the transformation in their daughter.
Is this truly our daughter?
She has changed. She is radiant with purpose.
From that day forward, Seraphina ruled with wisdom and compassion. And in the skies above, Jyo, Priscilla, and Leena watched, smiling at the lesson they had taught of growth, effort, and the joy of truly living.